Yes, as Christine said, I'm going to be sharing a chicken cutlet today. This is the kind of, I call it this is the kind of snack, like mid-afternoon snack that you always want. Like it's warm, it has, like it's meaty, it doesn't get you too full if you're having it just as a snack. It has a lot of flavor, and it's even a good way to kind of pack in your veggies. It may not seem like it because it's called a chicken cutlet, but you'll see it's a pretty easy way to kind of incorporate whatever veggies you have in the fridge, or things that if you even just want to eat more veggies, this is a great way to do that. So, oh, I'm like not able to see you, Christine. I'm just gonna.
You wanna here? It's something I did.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Okay, cool. Yes, I can see you now. Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna show you all of the ingredients. But one more thing I want to say about this, I mentioned that it's like a really good mid-afternoon snack, which it is. It's also the kind of thing that if you ever go to someone's house and they've like made a bunch of food, at least I've experienced this, if these cutlets are on the menu, like they come out as the appetizer, it's the kind of thing that you fill up on before dinner. You know, and then dinner comes and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have eaten 19 cutlets. You know, I should have taken it a little easy, but it's hard to take it easy because they're just addictive, right? So I'm going to show you all of the ingredients and then we'll go ahead and start making it. So here's everything. I have my laptop here, a little cheat sheet. So here's everything we have. So we're going to start off with some onion as always. I just have a red onion. I actually took out my chopper, which I think I've mentioned before is the best $20 I've ever spent. I just use it for onions and it is worth it just for that. I also have some grated ginger and grated garlic and ginger. I have green chilies. I have shredded carrots, which just came in a bag, but you can shred them yourself too. But what I did is, because they're going to be in cutlets and you want everything to kind of be in a bite-sized form, this up a little bit, I actually did a rough chop of the cutlets, or of the carrots. So you'll see they're pretty small, and it's because the shredded pieces tend to be a little bit long, and I don't want just like strings of carrot in the cutlets. I want them to be kind of small. Another vegetable I'm choosing to use today is purple cabbage, again, because I've had this cabbage in my fridge for, I don't even want to say how long, but smells fine, looks fine. We're gonna use it. You can use green cabbage. You can also use other veggies in here. So these are just an example set of veggies. I think I mentioned in the recipe, if you want to add potatoes to this, that's fantastic. Boil potatoes ahead of time, mix it in with the ground chicken. If you want to use bell pepper, you could do that. If you want to use mushroom, you could do that. Again, whatever you have on hand. Beetroot works really great in this. I'm going with this like purple theme of things now, but really any vegetable you want, you can boil it and add it to it. Another thing I'll say about this is it's pretty versatile. Like I'm a big fan of kind of sharing recipes with you guys and not keeping it so strict to kind of like, you must do this, you need these ingredients, because that's just not how life operates. And you don't always have them. You don't always want to go to the store. It's not always available. So that's why I'm going to start doing this, Christine, is I'm going to start kind of providing alternatives in the list as I talk through them too. You can make these cutlets into any cuisine you want. If you want it to be more Italian, add some Italian dried or fresh herbs. If you want it to be more Mexican, add some like taco seasoning, add some cumin. If you want it to be Moroccan, add some Moroccan seasonings. You can really mix it up that way. So all that being said,
we always love talking about how you can adjust the recipes and make it into different things. Oh, and if you do need the recipe for this dish, please, we do have it. So please email taste@nl.edu and ask for this specific recipe and it can be sent to you.
Yes. So we're going to get started.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Are you using fresh garlic that you chop, or?
So I am using fresh garlic here. Garlic is something I just always have on hand. I add it to almost everything. I can never have enough of it, but you can add garlic powder if you want. You can add garlic and onion powder if you don't want to do the chopping, you don't want to have that. But I add the onion not just for the flavor, but I also like the texture that it gives to the cutlets. You'll be able to bite into it a little bit, which I like. Otherwise, it just feels like I'm eating something really mealy if all the mouthfeel is all the chicken. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. And I see that you usually use red onion.
Yeah.
The reason for that?
You know what? I used to only use yellow onion for a long time. And then once I made a chicken curry with red onion and the flavor was just like out of this world. Now, was it specifically the red onion that made the change? I'm not sure, but I'm kind of like sticking to it. So I'm on a red onion kick right now. You can definitely use yellow onions, white onions for this. I actually just picked up some sweet onions for a coconut curry chicken that I'm going to be making next week. And if you want your cutlets to be a little bit sweeter, you can add the sweet onions. But other than that, I would say you could use red or white for this recipe. Okay.
Yep.
So all I'm doing here is I'm heating up a skillet. I'm going to start with a little bit of oil. So let me face you to pan so you can see what's going on. Is that clear? Yeah. Okay. So I'm just adding a little bit of oil. And again, these are cutlets, so you're gonna need a little bit more, I do think. Another thing I will say is if anyone joined my stuffed peppers recipe, I kind of give the option there of like, you can kind of add all the ingredients raw into the mixture and then fill the peppers with that. Or you can saute them a little bit and then add it. So, and I did it both ways then and they both tasted good. So this time I'm actually going to saute them and then mix it in with the ground chicken, specifically because I'm using garlic and some of the spices that I'm using, they really bloom when they hit the heat.
Mm-hmm.
And while they may do that in the cutlet, this way you're kind of exposing them to the heat directly instead of in the form of a cutlet. So that's why I'm going to be sauteing everything, setting it to the side, mixing it in with the ground chicken, and then putting them back on as patties to finish cooking. All right, so oil is heating. I can tell it's pretty hot. I can smell it. I'm going to add my red onion. And I'm not going to forget, I'm going to add a little bit of salt to let them spread. I've been watching a lot of new cooking videos lately. I've been watching one of this woman who kind of makes these bento box lunches for her husband, and it's so satisfying to watch them.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a lot of effort for one meal, but it also is so satisfying and it looks so good after. I've also been watching Allison Roman from New York Times, who I actually have never watched before, but I see these as examples of recipes that I don't typically make that aren't in my wheelhouse, but I'm trying to kind of challenge myself a little bit and say like, why can't I make that? You know, like surely I can follow a recipe and make it. So I'm trying to expand a little bit. All right.
Usually, if I'm not wrong, usually you don't put the salt on the onions when you start. You said you don't want to be soggy, but I saw that you added it at the beginning this time. Am I missing something or?
We
is it
just
different?
lost her.
Oh,
Yeah, we just lost her. Yeah, because it tends to pull out a lot of the moisture and
right.
everything too. So let's see if here she is.
Sorry about that. My phone started calling emergency.
Oh no.
Okay. Anyway. Yes. So sorry. Asaf was asking something.
Yeah, I said usually you don't add the salt immediately to the onion because you don't want it to take all the liquid out. But this time you did. Is that?
Yeah. So I don't want the patties themselves to be soggy. So here I kind of want the water to come out and then evaporate before I add it to the patty mixture.
Okay.
That's adding the salt now. Other times what I'll do is I won't add the salt. I know there was one time when I think I didn't add the salt to mushrooms right away because I was like, I'm not cooking these down for a while. I'm not frying them. And they weren't going to be on the heat long enough for them to fry. They were really going to steam if I let the water come out. So that was an instance where I added the salt later.
Thanks.
Yeah. And also with this onion, I'm not looking for this to become mush, right? Like I'm looking for this to basically soften up a little bit, get a little bit of flavor. Next thing I'm going to add in is my green chilies. So in the recipe, I think I said 3 green chilies. I realized what I was thinking of is, well, first of all, green chilies is a very generic term. I think I was thinking of very tiny kind of Indian green chilies that you can get at the Indian store, but that is not what they had at the grocery store when I went. And these are actually serranos. So they do pack quite a bit of heat. And so I would not add 3 of them. So this is maybe something I can put in like a clarification later, is when I'm talking about 3, I'm talking about the 3 tiny green chilies you get. But if you're using a serrano, here I have 1 serrano that I've added to it, and I like things spicy. And you'll see in the seasonings we add later, there's going to be some heat in those as well. Okay. And right now, the chilies still smell kind of raw, if that makes sense. Like they still have that kind of like
That
just
green specific, if you
yeah.
you take Mary's wine class, you know exactly what we're talking about. That's very I can't think of what the chemical is right now. It starts with a P though, but it's that green smell that you kind of get.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so you can smell it a little bit. Again, the reason for doing this in here first, like another option would be all the stuff I showed you, you dump it in a bowl, mix it in with the chicken, make the patties and go. But especially with things like cabbage, like I don't really want to taste raw cabbage. Like I want that to be wilted a little, and it can almost taste a little bitter otherwise. So that's why I'm doing it this way. So, all right, this is looking pretty good. I'm now going to add my ginger and garlic. So with ginger and garlic, specifically garlic, you don't need it to just sit and fry and fry and fry unless you're looking for fried burnt garlic and you're looking for that taste. You really just want it to kind of hit the heat and start to kind of become fragrant, I call it. And like this right here is one of my favorite smells, like onion, ginger, and garlic just sauteing. And similar to what I've said before in my other classes, this is now at the state where it can become anything. This can be a base for a chicken curry. It could be a base for saag paneer or mutter paneer. It could be a base for a pasta sauce. If you like ginger in your pasta sauce, which I do. It could be a base for a taco sauce if you're making one, or a taco filling with mushrooms. So the point is really, this is one way to keep it simple, is by having a set of ingredients that you know work well together, and then trying to start with that as a base and then building it from there into whatever you want that dish to become. All right, that is smelling pretty good. Maybe just a few more seconds. So tempting to also just to want to stir things all the time, to feel like I'm doing something, but also needs to like sit a little bit to get that cooking in. All right. Next thing we're going to do is add in the carrot. So this is the carrot that I said, the shredded carrot, and then I've kind of broken it up into smaller pieces. Just adding that in. Colors are already looking nice. Again, not too much, right? Like I'm saying, you can add veggies to this. If you were making this completely vegetarian, you don't even have to have the chicken, right? And the binding agent could come from like the boiled beetroot or the potato. You can even add little paneer bits to it. You can fold in little pieces of cheese into the cutlets if you want to do that. But here, since I also have the chicken coming in, I'm not I don't think I'm completely overloading it with the veggies. All right, add a little bit more salt. I'm learning to kind of salt at each stage. I've heard that's a good thing to do. Is that right, Christine?
That one I would have to ask my husband on. So, but I do know you need to be tasting throughout too to make sure you're keeping everything in balance.
I'm still trying to be good about that, because I'm always like, I could taste it, but when I add something else, it's going to change the flavor. So why am I like, it's almost like it needs to be right at each stage before going to the next one. So I need to be better about that. Okay, so the carrot is in. The next thing we're going to add is the cabbage. Purple cabbage, you can use green. Like, look at that color. Like, isn't this just, it's gonna all look kind of brown.
I know, I love all the colors you're using in this right now.
You know what? To Asa's point, Like I've been using, purple onion or red onion, or whatever that's called. I think it's called purple onion. And then I had purple cabbage and I was like, oh man, if I had green, the colors would work better together. But okay, so again, this could still be anything, right? Like we haven't committed. You know what else this would be good for? This would even be good to like toss with rice. If you wanted some kind of, like fried rice.
Fried rice, yeah.
Yeah, vegetable fried rice, you could do this. I mean, actually, even if we were actually putting the chicken in here, like I'm making them into patties, but if you were putting the chicken in here, that would just be like a ground chicken fried rice, So okay, it's looking good. I'm gonna leave it for just a couple of minutes. And in the meantime, I'm gonna show you the spices that I'm going to use. Let's see. I'm gonna show you the spices. I'm gonna add them. So I have here, I mixed actually the curry powder and garam masala together. It's that. I have some chili powder, and then I also have a little bit of turmeric in here as well. So I'm gonna just add these seasonings in. Okay, this color is getting a little too good. You see that? It's like purple, and the purple onion is now white, and don't breathe that in.
Yeah.
And this is a stage, I've provided amounts in the recipe, but this is also a stage at which if you're like, I don't really like curry powder, don't add it. If you don't like garam masala, don't add it. Just add like some cumin and coriander and call it a day, so you can really customize this filling, or not filling. Yeah, I guess it's a filling. Yeah, this smells pretty good. I'm seeing that it's getting a little bit dry at the bottom. Add a little more oil to help. Just made a little spot in the middle. I'm going to add a little more oil just to kind of help everything cook a little better. And once that heats up, I'll mix it in. Yep, I'm hearing things sizzle in it already. And this is, again, mainly for the spices. Like it was fine until I added the spices. And then when I added the spices, they can start to burn sometimes if there's not enough oil in there and stick to the bottom. So this is looking pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is, transfer this to, let's transfer to this one. This is just the bowl that I had the cabbage in before. I'm just going to move this into here, or actually, why don't I just add it directly to this? I have my ground chicken right here. In a bowl. This is about 1.5 pounds of ground chicken in here. And I'm going to just add these to this and then start to mix it up, and we'll make the patties, and then we'll coat them, and then we'll finish them off in here. You know what? There's this lady, as much as I love to cook, I love to eat out, I love to eat other people's food. Like, why wouldn't I? There's this lady in the Chicagoland area who makes delicious, delicious Indian food. And she started off just kind of cooking, and like a few of the aunties in our, family and family friends, they'd order from her. And her name is Tina. I'll send you her information if people ever want to order. We kept her as kind of like a secret for a long time, like all the aunties and us, because we were like, shh, she's gonna get too busy. But now she actually started her own catering business, and she makes incredible food. Like I'll send you her website later. It's just so good. And you go and pick it up from her. So she makes delicious cutlets. So the week that I told you I was going to be making chicken cutlets, I just happened to order cutlets from her like 2 days later. Because I want to wait till the 16th to eat these cutlets.
Like, I can't wait. I've got to get some in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, oh, I might as well have, these do not taste like that. I don't know how she makes hers. The texture is all different. Oh, that's my son. I guess he's back from school now. You'll see him in the background a little bit. Okay, so all I'm gonna do now is take this and put it in here, although I'm not gonna hold it in my hand because that's that. So I'm just gonna transfer this into that.
Okay.
And again, if you're just using a bunch of like garlic powder, onion powder, ginger garlic paste, whatever it is, and you don't want to cook your veggies down, that's okay. Just pick veggies that don't need to be cooked. Like don't add raw potato.
Of course.
The thing, like boil it.
Be wise about what you're using.
Yeah. Like, it depends what you're using. Here again, I didn't want the bitterness of the cabbage to come through. And so that's why I'm mixing this in. It's interesting. I always think like whenever I add hot things to chicken like this, I'm like, oh no, it's gonna scramble. And then I'm like, no, it's not. That's eggs. Right? It's like eggs that I was watching a video on, I think, carbonara today, like how to make carbonara. And someone was like, you gotta be really careful not to scramble the eggs when you put it in, but chicken doesn't do that. Okay, I'm taking this off. Heat is off. I'm gonna move you guys on this side. Okay, here it is. Looks like this right now. And I'm just gonna point you downwards as I mix this. I'm gonna start off with like a spoon it's a little bit flat. Let's see, be something like this. Okay, we're gonna mix this in. Always get a bigger bowl than you think you need when you're mixing it. Just I switched bowls 2 times and this still feels too small. So, okay. So other ways you can make this is, I know when I made this in the past, like, I don't know why I did it this way. I just bought like chicken breast or chicken thighs and then just like chop them up really fine, or like boneless, skinless, or even sometimes like put it in the food processor and get really small bits, and the texture of it will just be different then. Mm-hmm. But here I figure, if you already have ground chicken, it makes it easy. You could just do it this way. It already has a nice color. And I'm telling you, if you use beetroot in this, like, that looks incredible. It's just like a bunch of purple patties that you're putting on. You don't know what's in them, and for people that don't like beetroot, you don't even really taste it in there. It's more there to give it that body. And with the seasonings, with the spices, it comes together really nicely. Okay. I guess we're gonna just eat cutlets for dinner tonight. Not as an appetizer. Okay, maybe my son will have some. Okay. Mixed up. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna like roll this whole batch, because that's gonna take a while, but I'm gonna show you guys how to form these into little patties, how to coat them, and then how to finish them off. Well, not finish them off, like cook them in the skillet. Okay, that looks good. All right, so I'm gonna just use, like, you guys can see this. I'm gonna use my hands here. I'm gonna show you how I do a couple of them, and then we'll just cook them up. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this. It's that feeling that's like, feels nice to hold something like this in your hand, but you're also like,
you know what it is.
Yeah, you're like, ugh. Yes, you want to have a ball about like a golf ball-ish size, like that. Mm-hmm. Will also cook a little faster. And then you can see again why I cut up even the cabbage. I said shredded cabbage, but I cut them and then I cut them again, just so I don't have huge strings of veggies in there. So here is a golf ball size patty. You can see all the stuff in there. And then I'm just gonna pat it down to kind of look like that. Okay. And then what I'm gonna do is there's an easier way to do this, but all I have here is I have some eggs, egg whites, egg yolks, the whole egg. I'm just gonna dunk it in here. Let me show you this. Like that. And then I'm gonna coat it in some breadcrumbs. You can use regular breadcrumbs, you can use panko. So I happen to have panko breadcrumbs, so the Japanese breadcrumbs, I'm gonna use that. All I'm doing is just putting it in here. This is all very satisfying and very messy. So maybe this is something you can get kids involved into, as long as they don't like.
Make sure that they wash their hands well.
I know. They
keep an eye on them while they're doing it.
Exactly. So let's make a couple more, and then I will put them in the scale. I'm going to turn on the heat a little bit now while we make these. And don't worry, I mean, ideally they're all almost the same size so that they all cook evenly, like that. You're gonna oh, hi, Zane. You're gonna eat dinosaur fruit snacks? Yeah. Okay, you can have that. I got it from my birthday. Oh, in your goodie bag. Great.
Nice.
Okay. That's great. Guess he's not eating the cutlets. Yeah, I'm gonna just do these two for now. So let me. Great. Yeah, he loves fruit snacks. So we went to the doctor and the doctor was like, yeah, he can't be eating fruit snacks every day. And I was like, oh man. But luckily he was with me and he heard it.
Oh no.
I didn't realize that coming from the doctor, like he hasn't complained about it once. He's been like, yeah, doctor said no fruit snacks except during birthday parties. And I was like, that's right. I'm glad you heard it. Like, that's just, and so now he just doesn't. So I guess they had a birthday at school today and they gave
There you go. So it have some.
Yeah. Okay. Let me, so I have the pan heated again. Okay. Here, okay, just like this. Okay. So you can see that. Now I'm just going to take these patties. You can see they're nice and coated.
Mm-hmm.
Hear that sizzle. Oh, not quite. Guess it needs to be a little hotter. And typically, I'm just going to put 2 in now just to show you and how they cook up. And then while they're cooking, we can make more. But I usually, when I do them, I like put them in a clockwise order just so I know which one went first, which one went second. And then you do want them to cook all the way through because the veggies are cooked, the chicken is not. So just like moving the oil around so it's kind of evenly coated. And while that's happening, we will just make additional patties here. So any questions in the meantime?
So when you make the patties, if it's too dry, it will start breaking, right?
Yeah, they'll start kind of coming apart, but the ground chicken is just pretty moist on its own.
So that's
I haven't, yeah, I haven't found that happens. I can imagine like if there was flour or something in this, like there are ways to do this where you put in a little cornstarch to get a little crisp and stuff. I'm keeping it simple just with the crispiness coming from the panko. So nothing I'm gonna do here. Typically I'd, wait a while for it to cook through and then do it, but because there's breadcrumbs on the outside, they can burn if it gets too hot. So I just want to be cognizant of that and flip them once in a while so you can see how they look right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
Yeah, they're already browning up.
Yeah, they're just browning up. And again, that's the panko on the outside. So I always, again, it's chicken, so just make sure it's cooked all the way through before you eat it. Then we're just going to make these patties in the meantime. So the other thing that what this goes well with, right?
Yeah.
I think I put in the recipe, it goes well with like chutneys and it goes well with ketchup. I looked in my fridge right before I logged out. I was like, I don't have either of those. Great. So I'm actually going to go get some ketchup because I'm not a huge ketchup person, but with something like this, it's super satisfying. It's kind of like pizza and Coke. Like I almost never drink Coke or any carbonated beverage, but if there's pizza, there's something that feels really good about like drinking that with eating that. So ketchup is
meant to be together.
Yeah, exactly. So let me actually grab here. Now I'm going to swing you guys over for a second. Whoa. Okay. Just grabbing another plate that I can place these patties on. Keep an eye on these as well. So yeah, so you can use chutney and you can make like a sweet and sour tamarind sauce at home.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah, so there's like but even if you go to the Indian store, like if you're going to the Indian store to get, garam masala or to get like whatever, you can always pick up those chutneys. Like they're super inexpensive. They come in these kind of smaller jars, and you can get mint chutney, cilantro chutney, and cilantro chutney, mango chutney. Like the possibilities are endless. So if you're ever making these for like a party, I feel like they're very popular at parties. You can serve these with like 6 different sauces, you know, and knowing that those sauces have other purposes than just eating these. You know, you can use them as sandwich spreads and things like that. So you don't have to worry about them going to waste, at least I don't. But yeah, I think they go great with something that's like a little sour, a little acidic, a little pungent. They go really well with something like that. So, okay, let me, and these are looking good. Like they, I'm gonna eat them now.
So are these usually served as like an appetizer then?
Yeah, they're usually served as an appetizer. Are you okay? Telling our dog no for something. Yes, they're typically served as an appetizer. If you go to Indian restaurants, they might have, you know, chicken cutlets. You can make cutlets out of anything. You can make vegetable cutlets, like the lady Tina that I told you about. She makes fish cutlets that are excellent. So yeah, they typically serve as an appetizer. But again, I have to do what I always do, which is like, how else can you use this? So at this stage, it is a cutlet, right? But you can think of like crumbling this over a salad, right? So as a form of protein. So you already made this. This has some veggies in it. So think of it kind of like, it's not falafel, but the idea is similar in that you could break it up. Within that, you could put it in a pita.
You could put it in a pita, add some other vegetables with it, make it very much like that. You could do it in a wrap. And like some lettuce and some chutney and
totally
touch in a wrap together. I mean, there's so many things. Have it with rice. I mean, there's
you can have it really with anything, and you can think about it like I happen to be making it in this shape, but if you're like putting it in a sandwich, make little square patties so that it fits your bread. You know, you can go to the store and buy hamburger meat or whatever. I'm not really hamburgers that often, but like, you know, where you can get those patties that are pre-cut or pre-formed to kind of fit a sandwich or fit bread. You don't have to do that. You can make this. You can even like make them, and you could make them, and before you cook them, freeze them and just keep them ready for until it's time to actually use them in something. So, okay, Yara, give me 1 second. I'm gonna wash my hands. And then we are going to check on these patties. We do see that, like, do you see how they've are browned a little bit? Want that. But again, keep an eye on it just because it's breadcrumbs and those are the first things to go. I'm shallow frying. Well, I don't even know if this is called shallow frying because there's not enough oil for me to consider it a fry. But you can bake these if you want. You can coat them in the breadcrumbs and put them in the oven. I'd probably put them at like 375 or so for 10 to 12 minutes. Check them and see if you need to do more. You can also deep fry them if you so choose. But I like doing them this way because I'm like, oh, I have the veggies. I have a little bit of oil. And okay, let me take one of these out onto a plate. Okay.
How do you know when they cooked from the inside?
No. Actually, I don't. I'm gonna take them out. I'm gonna cut them and just check. I know from like kind of making them before that they should be cooked right about now. So, but I'm gonna cut into them and we'll check together if they're actually cooked. Okay, here it is. Looks like this on the outside. On this side, I'm just gonna make a small cut. And we'll look at kind of a cross section on the inside. It kind of looks like that.
And if you have a meat thermometer, Asaf, you can always check them. You want your chicken to be at 165.
Oh yeah, right. Thank you.
That's like the best tool. So I know a lot of people don't have meat thermometers in their kitchen, but it's such a wise investment. And there's so, technology has changed. It's not the meat thermometer that our parents had where it had to plug into the oven that had like this
Oh, yeah.
cord and everything. They make really nice, little ones that are digital, very easy to work with. They even have ones that are like little guns and
Yeah,
things
so
like that. Just
let me show you one that I have.
so it's for anyone that's cooking. Yeah, it's a wise investment for anyone that's cooking. So
Yeah.
especially if you're going to be cooking meat, if you like to grill and things like that, it makes it a lot easier.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And this one,
I think you can get like a meat thermometer for probably a decent one for around $15 or something on Amazon. So,
I prefer, this is cooked, by the way. I'm not just like eating her up. You know what the good thing is about making it in small batches, it definitely needs some more salt. So I'm going to salt it before I make the rest of the patties. So I prefer the one I showed you there, which is a digital one. I also used to have one that just looks like a compass almost at the top with like a spoke in it, where it just manually moves. And I was like, I don't know if this is working. Like, am I all the way through the,
yeah,
so the digital ones are pretty simple.
Definitely like get a digital one, read the instructions. Very important because it may need calibration every once in a while, but that's one of those things that it's a tool that everyone should really have in their kitchen.
Got it. Okay. So these are basically it. I'm just gonna like make the rest of them for tonight. But Christine, what I'll do is once I make all of them, I'm gonna start doing this too. I'll send you a photo of all of it.
Oh my gosh, I forgot to share the last photos you sent me. So I will definitely share those when I send my next Taste Talk emails and tease everyone with like, you need to be coming to Saruthi's, all of Saruthi's cooking demos and look at
so I will, once I make all of these, I'll like set them out. I'll put the sauces out. I'll see what sauces I can find since I figured out I don't have chutney or ketchup. I'll find something that goes well with it. And then I'll send you a photo of it so you could see kind of what it looks like all done. But that's basically it. Like this is
fabulous. I very much want to make these now. So this sounds
awesome.
Good. I have to like give a shopping list to my husband and be like, bring this home.
I know. Yeah.
And then we'll see if I cook it or he cooks it.
Yeah. I know. But this is, like I said, like we might just have this for dinner. We have so many of them, and like I know Zane's gonna like it. It's pretty mild. So I will say, I think in the recipe I put a pound of chicken. I ended up using 1.5 pounds because I just had it, and I was like, I don't want to keep like a quarter, half a pound for something. So I personally would prefer having more chilies in this, having a little more heat. So one thing I might even do right now, because I'm like, oh, I want more heat. I already sauteed the veggies. Maybe it's okay. I might even chop in like an extra serrano, have it not be sauteed and add it in for that kind of heat. Or if I want more of that, it's almost like a drier heat, I might just add some red chili powder to this now. So all is not lost if, you taste it and you're like, it's not fine. It's like, make the adjustments as you need. You don't have to go through the whole like sauteing step again. It'll just add another layer of flavor to what you already have.
Oh no, yeah. Well, I think that is it for today. Asaf, did you have any other questions? Or are you good?
No, thank you. I'm really hungry now. And
thank you for coming.
As always. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. The next Taste Talk we will have will actually be on Tuesday. We will have Marty back again talking about beer glassware. So we're definitely, as we're starting to talk about beers with him, we want to get the basics under our belt. So we definitely need to know what to pour our beers into before we can start enjoying them. All right. Well, thank you, Saruthi.
And thanks, Asaf, for joining.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think this is definitely one I am putting together the shopping list for, so I can make
awesome.
I think Kathy would like this too. So
perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Guys. Thank you. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.